And away we go. It is the nightcap right here on Bearcat Journal, brought to you as always by our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Make sure you get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up and save yourself 15% off your order, or get you some delivery. Hit up the app, make your order. Uber Eats will bring it right to your door. Large delivery area. Most of the 275 loop. So get that done. You know you want some Galactic Fried Chicken. Closed now on Monday and Tuesdays, but open the rest of the week, Wednesday through Sunday. Hi, Aaron. Through the end of the year. Right.
Hi, Chad.
How you doing?
I'm good.
We had a scrimmage today.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, it was a good time. Beautiful day at historic Nippert Stadium.
So why was it there and not still at camp?
They liked it gives the guys, it breaks it up just a little bit. You come back, they come back today. After the scrimmage breaks, they'll give them the night off, and then they'll have breakfast tomorrow, and then head back to higher ground. Get to sleep in their own beds for the night. You know, just gives them a quick little chance to get out on the field at Nippert, have a scrimmage, get a little window into normalcy, and then back to the woods for the final week of camp.
So many breaks from camp. Goodness.
Jesus Christ.
First 2 days, scrimmage, and an extra morning. Come on.
You're such a pain in the ass. Get some fucking sleep.
I'm so tired.
You are so angry. Like, I'm going to have to find somebody else to do this if you can't relax.
I didn't even get angry. I just said so many breaks.
It's 3 weeks of football. Like, they have to take a mandatory day off every week. That's required by the NCAA. Aaron's out here thinking they should be, in the sweltering heat of Texas or Alabama with Bear Bryant.
Back in my day.
Two-a-days every day. No breaks. You get to the season, everybody's hurt. Nobody can perform.
You've had 3 guys on the ground because of exhaustion.
Good God, you're insufferable right now.
So defense looks good again.
Yeah, I mean they're good. Like that's we expected that. Like they've got kind of a machine in place defensively. At this point, the defense is typically ahead of the offense. Last year, I mean, as good as that offense was, the defense would usually get the better of them. To be expected. But we did see, we saw 4 touchdowns today. The offense moved the ball, albeit a tad inconsistently, moved the ball pretty well at times. The only thing that I think stood out to me that concerns me a little bit, and this is hard without, the running backs truly being live. And today was full contact for the most part. But there's a lot, 3-and-outs are a bit concerning at the moment. There's some splash plays. There's been some big plays over the top, but we haven't seen this offense yet find that rhythm where they're grinding out drives, where you see 5, 6, 7, 8 play drives that push the ball down the field. So, really, if I had anything offensively that I want to see as we get into this final week, I'd like to see a little bit more consistency in stacking 5, 6, 8, 10, 12-yard gains. Everybody wants the splash plays, but
so it's the intermediate stuff, the stuff that I was there at camp and they were working on, all the dump offs and the little checkdowns and those kind of plays that you're not seeing
crossing routes and drags and digs, and you'd like to see a little bit more of that stuff get refined, but that's when they say the offense or the defense is ahead of the offense, it's the timing on stuff like that takes the offense a little bit of time to really develop, and especially with a new quarterback.
So I read your recap, so I'm trying to steer away from
Dave's recap.
Okay. I did not notice that. All right. So I read Dave's recap.
Yeah, I've been working on the two deep. I'm doing it a little bit different this time. I'm not just stone cold listing, because last year, there's for the past couple years, there's been a very this is the ones, this is the twos. We're seeing a lot of mix and match. So I'm going to do the two deep by position and just kind of say these are the primary ones. These are the 1As. Here's who's running with the twos. I think it's a little bit more informative that way than just a very basic like listing of the positions. So I've already got that started. Gonna spend some time with the family tonight when we get done with this, but then tomorrow I'll get the two deep up probably by tomorrow late afternoon, early evening, somewhere in that window.
So trying to ask questions that are not on the report. I wanted to ask about the secondary as a whole, including safeties, not just corners. Because I didn't see a ton there. It seems like most of the focus was offensive, which, I mean, I've been to practices, I've been to camps. Like, that's the thing that catches your eye. So trying to look at who's defending on certain plays isn't always the easiest thing, especially when a lot of the defenders have their shirts tucked up under their pads and different things like that.
Right.
So how are we feeling right now about where the secondary is post scrimmage?
So far, so good. Javon Hicks, I thought, had an exceptional day today. He tipped a pass early that Jabari Taylor intercepted. So I thought that was a good play.
Always good when a big man gets his hands on the ball.
Yeah. He had a big hit on Miles. They checked down to Miles Montgomery. He got about 7 yards, but then Hicks came up and laid the wood on the check down. He had a couple good plays in space. So JQ had a good day. Didn't have his best day. If you watch the video from UC, Nick Mardner got him on a jump ball on a fade.
Eventually, he was going to start winning some. I was going to say, eventually, he was going to start winning some of those battles, right? Like, couldn't be JQ all camp,
all the time, right? The one thing I would say about the secondary today, and this is something that they're going to have to adapt and adjust to. Like, again, when you've got essentially a new group and a lot of guys out there that don't have a ton of reps yet, a ton of experience yet, like in live action with officials that have flags in their pocket. There was quite a few holding and pass interference calls today. So they're gonna, camp is very physical, as you know. Like Luke Fickell runs a physical camp, and that means the DBs play physical. They get after it, and part of that getting after it is maybe being a little more handsy than officials allow.
Right.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to dial that back some, but overall the coverage has been pretty good. Like, I don't think there's really been any guys I can think of that like they're just getting roasted consistently.
Okay. Now offensively, since it is a scrimmage and pads were on, everything was full go, I think the easiest question, the biggest question maybe for the offense is, how did the running backs look? We obviously, everybody wants to hear about the quarterback battle, but today I don't care about the quarterback battle. I want to know how the running backs looked. Was Corey Kiner 100%? What's going on there?
Kiner was 100%. He ran with the twos today some. I don't think that they are really forcing a full workload on him yet, but he was out there quite a bit. Didn't have really anything like jump out, splashy jump out the page, but had a couple nice like 4 or 5 yard runs. Biggest play of the day, especially in the rushing attack, was an outside run by Miles Montgomery that turned into a 35-yard touchdown, where he pulled away from the defense. Like it's one of those runs that why I've been high on Miles Montgomery for the past 6 months, the end of last year, and then through spring football, saying keep an eye on this kid because he's got some home run hitting ability.
And what have we said over and over again about Miles Montgomery is that he's the all-around back. If there is an all-around back on this squad, it's probably Miles.
Now, he did have maybe the biggest mistake of the day, as he and I think it was Evan misconnected on a toss to the outside that hit the turf. Ty Van Fossen scooped and took it like 60 yards for a touchdown.
Scoop and score. The good
The
old,
old
scoop and score.
So that one would be on the,
That's just timing. I mean, and that's going to come when you got a guy who's missed the majority of. He wasn't here in Cincinnati at all yet. He had not been a part of this team yet through spring, and he's just getting his legs back under him. So I don't expect those things to continue to be an issue. I think that's more or less.
Yeah, but it's little stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Making being effective in blitz pickup and pass blocking, making sure on toss plays and screens and whatever that you secure the ball because it might be live. Stuff like the finer tuned points of the running back position he's going to have to continue to make strides there. But you got a guy that can hit home runs. You're going to have to figure out ways to get him up to speed in those areas so that, you can use him. Because Luke talked about today, like on 80% of their drives last year, or 80% of their touchdown drives last year, there was a splash play. There was a 20-plus yard play. And it can't all be in the passing game. You need to do it in the running game as well. Why is a huge part of why have Luke Fickell's teams been good the past 4 years? Mike Warren, Jared Dokes, Jerome Ford. And they have to find their bell cow, if you will.
Sure. Was Ryan back?
Yeah, he was back. He was with the ones initially. I didn't see him get a ton of touches today, but he was back Tuesday. And him and Corey, they've both been working them back, but not throwing a full load at them immediately.
And that's kind of on par with the same things that we've seen with Lorenz Metz, with just pretty much anybody who's working back from injury. So,
well, yeah, you've got a 1 month run up to the first game.
Yeah,
you don't want to get to a 2 week run up to the first game, and you've got
re-aggravate something.
8 guys standing on the sidelines watching that you were counting on being significant factors, or at least factors.
Well, it's good to hear all of those things. Now, there again, Dave has his camp report day 10 first scrimmage article up, and all the things we talked about. Well, not all the things, but a lot of the things we talked about are on there in much more detail. Some of the things that we did not talk about, so plenty of stuff there for you to check out. There was also some basketball news this weekend as Cincinnati's top recruit, Isaiah Collier, kind of had himself a day.
Yeah. So Isaiah Collier, most of you have been following along. If not, if you're
under a rock,
we're
new to the site. There's a lot
new to the site. Yeah,
new members.
He's been the number one target for Cincinnati at point guard for a year. Like, if you remember, there was an Isaiah Collier sign at game day.
Correct.
Last year. This is a long-time pursuit by the Cincinnati staff. Now, when they started recruiting him, he was like 18, 20, 22 in the country in most places. He was a 5-star, but he was, the back end of that 5-star range. That is not the case anymore. There is legitimate conversation. I believe 2 of the services have him inside the top 3. I don't think 24/7 will be too far behind. There's a conversation to be had for him to be the best player in the class. He missed June and July with a knee. He has not played in 2 months until last week when he returned to action and won MVP of the Steph Curry camp. And then last night in Chicago, the Under Armour Elite 24, which is one of the, it's probably right there with the Jordan game, behind the McDonald's game. The McDonald's game's the big name one, but right. Under Armour Elite 24 and the Jordan game both have a bunch of really, really high-level players last night, including Rayvon Griffith, who had a good night as well. But Isaiah Collier goes out and walks away with MVP of the Elite 24 game. So he's been back for like a week, maybe just over a week and a half. And he's won MVP of 2 of the major events that you can attend. And these are, invitation only. Like you don't just show up at the Steph Curry camp and get to play. You got to be invited there. You got to be invited to the Elite 24. And I think Zay is making his case for, look, I'm the best player in this class. Nobody impacts a game, impacts winning at the level that I do. And as such, I should be number 1. And now you find yourself, it's Cincinnati, Michigan, USC, UCLA. He's taken official visits to all 4. The family has done a phenomenal job of keeping people guessing. I love when like the Michigan people are kind of new to this, right? Because they didn't really get involved until later in the process. And he visited there a couple weeks ago, and coming off of that visit, the Michigan people are now trying to get into the Isaiah Collier decision-making game, and they're all doing the same thing. I think it's this, and then a day later, well, then I heard it might be this, and then a day later, well, the new information says it might be this. That's what they want to be happening right now. They are doing a masterful job of keeping everyone wondering when it comes to where they are at in their decision-making process. So that somebody today finally got what I was trying to say last night, because everybody, it's always, what are Cincinnati's chances of getting him? And it's like 30.97%. And the point being, there's 4 teams, and it could be any of them. So that's 25% each. Mm-hmm. If I think Cincinnati's at 30, it means I think somebody's under 25. Like, so do I think he's going to come to Cincinnati? I have no clue, because I don't pretend to know things that I don't know. I know that they are, when he makes his announcement, I'll be surprised if it gets out early, because they've had a great grasp on it from the beginning. And I think they're going to have a great grasp, or, a great like containment of what they want to do all the way through this thing. But if you're getting squeamish, Cincinnati's in on a top 5 player, the number 1 point guard in the country. It's not for the faint of heart. You got to see this thing through to the end, even if there's a reality that you could lose and you're not going to get him. You don't spend a year on a kid like they have Isaiah Collier, exhausting every possible resource to make this thing happen, and then see him get the validation that you were right? Like, see it. We invested in this kid when he was back here, and now he's all the way up here. We made the right evaluation. You gotta play it to the finish line.
I'll tell you what, after watching that highlight reel from this weekend and watching that shot as the sun's setting on what looked to be beachfront
on the lake in Chicago.
Okay. I mean, it was a sight to see, and it was nothing short of
just a casual step back 30-footer to walk it off.
Nothing short of, I mean, that moment will live with that kid for a long, long time.
Yeah. And if it's not Isaiah Collier, I don't know, maybe there's something new in the works.
Call that a tease.
Maybe.
Have a good weekend.
We'll see you later. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.